Hello, I'm Fran Morris, and these are my friends Tommy and Nancy Miller. We have something we'd like to show you.
We're going to show you some pictures of the Old West.
That's right. Feeling that sometimes children see and hear about a rather distorted version of the Old West, we decided on the television program Miss Fran from Storyland to do a little study of this very fascinating period in our history. Yes, it is, isn't it? So, we invited the boys and girls to draw pictures of this period of history. Now, we define the Old West for the children as a time, the way to the Pacific coast, and then from the Canadian border down to the Mexican border, and a people, both good and bad, strong and weak. Then, as I say, we invited the children to draw pictures, and we attempted to kind of sort out some of the haze between fact and fiction in the history of the Old West. Well, I don't know how much children learned, but I learned a whole lot. I learned a lot about the Old West from that contest. I think probably the main thing I learned was that you can enjoy history, whether it's factual or not, in a very special way when you enjoy it through the eyes of boys and girls. And of course, I hope we added a few facts for them. We'd like to share these pictures now with you, the art of the boys and girls who participated in our little study of the Old West. Nancy and Tommy are going to help me tell you about the pictures, and I sincerely hope that you enjoy the color and the excitement, the fun, and sometimes the historical accuracy of this pictorial history of the Old West. When the early settlers began moving west, there were no highways as we have today. These pictures show the way they traveled, in covered wagons.
That's a little wagon for a little boy. And here's a little horse.
Yes, now where do you suppose the pioneers came from?
I think they came from Dallas or Texas or some other places like that.
And probably many of them came from farther east, back where our original 13 states were. When the pioneers found a place where they wanted to live, what did they do?
They chopped down trees and they made their forts.
What else did they do with the trees they chopped down?
That's how they made their houses. Here's some places where they chopped down trees.
Who's that?
The cowboy.
And what did the cowboys do?
Right on the horsey. Here's a cowboy, and here's his horsey. Some Indians, and here's some Christmas trees. Those are not Christmas trees. Those are Indian tents. Look at all these Indians.
The Indians were great hunters, weren't they? Do you know how they hunted their food, Nancy?
They're from bow and arrow.
In those days, a man's best friend was his horse. As the settlers moved west and the Indians tried to protect their hunting grounds, there were many times when fighting broke out.
A whole bunch of them get killed, don't they? The Indians kill the cowboys, and the cowboys kill the Indians. They were mean to each other, a whole bunch. Visit Indians.
General Custer was one famous Indian fighter. Do you know what happened to him?
Indians saw him, so they started shooting their arrows and spears. And one got him in the hat, one got him right there. He don't got any real guns, he just got play guns. Fort was right there. Here's the Indians. They went like boom, 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 and they were going this, and they wasn't even holding on to their horse.
And when the fighting was over?
They made peace.
How did they make peace?
They said how to each other, and they did like this. And then they said, peace.
As they settled their differences, the pioneers continued to move west.
When they got out there, they stopped and made towns. They made stores and places to tie their horses. Here's a cowboy, and here's his horsey. They're having a draw. That means they don't like each other, and they walk a few steps forward and then they shoot. Cowboys builded the forts, and the Indian builded the teepees.
One of the most famous battles of the Old West was in Texas.
Yeah, the Alamo. Everybody got killed there. Here's a guy, but you go in for Alamo. Here's a blast everybody up. I know how Davy Crockett got killed. Somebody blew him up and they stabbed him a whole bunch. And I'm glad I'm not I wasn't Davy Crockett, no.
But the Old West wasn't all battles and gunfights. The cowboys worked hard with the cattle, especially at roundup time. Do you know what they did?
They get them all up in a pile, and sometimes they chase them up somewhere, and then they let them rest and get some water and hay. At night time, he's singing a song, and they took the saddle off the horses, and they made a campfire. There's the guy that's sleeping. That's a Pony Express. That's the way people got the mail.
Another familiar figure in the Old West was the gold prospector.
That says gold right there, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Why do you suppose so many people look for gold?
To buy a whole bunch of nice things. And then they had, some of them could have kids, and they could buy things for them to play with.
Gold wasn't the only important mineral discovered in the Old West. What is this?
That's a 20-mule thing, and they carry borax in it.
The days of hauling by 20-mule team have gone. You know, the big team is still a good symbol to remind us of the strength and enterprise that made the Old West such a fascinating story.